YouTube, what it do? It's your boy TWV checking in for another edition of the Monday Night Raw recap and review. This Monday Night Raw, we had a little bit of everything. We had Jey Uso going crazy. We had Logan Paul getting booed throughout New York. We had AJ Styles appear. We had a special appearance from the WWE Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes. We have some more dissension within the Judgment Day. We had Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley for the #1 contender for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. We had a mysterious luchador appear during the middle of the LWO and New Day match. We had Io Sky slapping her competitors heading into the road to WrestleMania, and we ended the night with Seth Rollins versus CM Punk in a steel cage match with a guest appearance from, we'll get back to that at the end. It's your boy TWV with the recap and review. Let's get to it. First in-ring action of the night was Jey Uso facing Grayson Waller. The match began with Waller executing a shoulder tackle, but Uso quickly countered with the elbow and a body slam. Waller targeted Uso's knee and sent him shoulder first into the ring post, seizing control. Despite Theory's interference, Uso displayed resilience, delivering a suicide dive to Waller outside the ring. Waller responded with a clothesline on the floor, maintaining his aggressive approach. Back in the ring, Waller continued his offense with elbow strikes and a jumping knee, earning near falls. Uso rallied with a Samoan drop and a running hip attack. After countering Waller's neck breaker, Uso executed a super kick, followed by another to Theory on the apron. He then delivered a spear, which secured the pinfall victory. Post-match, Austin Theory attacked Uso, leading to a brief brawl where Uso fended off both Theory and Waller. However, World Heavyweight Champion GUNTHER intervened, applying a sleeper hold that rendered Uso unconscious. Color by numbers type of match, like he was beefing with Grayson Waller last week, so we got a match. This feud's gonna go into next week. Now he's gonna face Austin Theory next week. But this is just showcasing, like I was telling you, like I've said a couple weeks ago, just have Gunther beat Jey up every week until he go back to crash out Jey. I feel like we'll kind of start seeing the Jey come back and start beating Gunther up kind of toward the end of the month when we're getting really into the heat of like we get into WrestleMania. But with that being said, the segment was cool. Not the segment, but the match was cool. I like Waller and Theory getting TV time. You know, you got to keep your babyface kind of momentum going with Jey Uso. Of course, he's still getting beat up by Gunther afterwards, but you know that's part of the story. But in ring wise, he's not taking any L's. He's not losing to anybody going into WrestleMania, of course. But with that being said, let's get to the next one. Next segment was Logan Paul entering Madison Square Garden to resounding boos. Paul's attempted to address the crowd, but was repeatedly interrupted by him getting basically booed out of the building. He acknowledged that AJ Styles intended to call him out, but decided to preemptively take the stage, asserting that he doesn't associate with individuals like Styles. Paul provocatively compared himself to iconic figures such as The Rock and John Cena, claiming that he has transcended sports entertainment. He criticized Cody Rhodes for rejecting The Rock's offer and suggested that John Cena took 2 decades to realize that nice guys finish last. In a bold declaration, Paul told The Rock that his soul is for sale, further positioning himself as a self-serving. Spotting comedian Andrew Schultz in the audience, Paul invited him to speak. Schultz expressed his excitement for the evening's main event between CM Punk and Seth Rollins, pointedly stating that no one was there to see Paul and emphasizing the desire to watch real wrestlers like AJ Styles. This remark escalated the tensions, leading to Paul forcibly pulling Schultz over the barricade and into the ring, teasing a suplex. Before Paul could execute the suplex, AJ Styles rushed to the ring to delivering a clothesline to Paul. The confrontation culminated with Styles hitting his signature phenomenal forearm, sending Paul retreating to the ring. Styles then celebrated with Schultz, reinforcing his role as the fan favorite and setting their stage for their potential feud with Paul. So, like I said, we are going to go the Logan Paul, AJ Styles route with WrestleMania. In ring wise, Logan Paul is a great wrestler. Outside of wrestling, I do not care for Logan Paul. He doesn't do it for me. AJ Styles is one of the best ever. That list of best ever gets longer and longer the longer wrestling goes on. Like, of course, people have their people from their era in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s. But AJ Styles is a world-class wrestler. Like, this is going to be a really good match. I'm excited for the match, even though outside of wrestling, like I said, I'm not a fan of Logan Paul. AJ Styles can have a great match with anybody. He had a great match with Shane McMahon at one WrestleMania one time. So, you know, AJ Styles makes his opponents rise to the occasion. Like, I would call him like a wrestling mirror. And what I mean by that is a wrestling mirror is your opponent is either going to come up to your standard or you're going to come down to your opponent's standard. And they say John Cena's like that. And as I've gotten older and rewatched a lot of John Cena matches, this is extremely true. Like, if he's facing a CM Punk with somebody big name, he's going to get up for it. If he's facing somebody mediocre, he's going to give you the 5 moves of doom and keep it pushing. But with that being said, segment was cool. It served its purpose. It started the build for the AJ Styles Logan Paul storyline. Don't really care for Andrew Schultz. He's in my opinion, a decent comedian. But we're not talking about comedians here. We're talking about wrestling. So with that being said, let's get to the next one. Action was the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods facing off against the Latino World Order, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee in a high-octane tornado tag team match. I want to say before I even get into the match, this is the first time there's been a tornado tag team match in WWE, at least in 7 to 10 years. Like, I don't remember, in the last 5 to 7, I don't remember watching a tornado tag team match at all. So this was something cool, something different. Definitely thoroughly enjoyed it. But with that being said, let's get into the match. So the match commenced with a flurry of action. Mysterio and Lee executed synchronized bulldogs on Kingston and Woods, showcasing their agility and coordination. The fight quickly spilled outside the ring, where Mysterio drove Woods face first into the steel ring post, while Lee delivered a back body drop onto the floor. The LWO then introduced a table, hinting at escalating the match's intensity. However, the New Day turned the tide by sending Mysterio crashing into the steel steps and powerbombing Lee into the arena floor, sliding the table back underneath and going to the crowd like, hey, nah, we not doing that. So backing inside the ringside, Woods and Kingston isolated Lee, delivering a series of punishing blows. Lee's then demonstrating his resilience, retaliated with a hurricanrana that sent Kingston into the rope, setting up Mysterio's 619 maneuver. Mysterio attempted a frog splash, but Kingston countered by raising his knees, shifting the momentum once more. As the battle raged on, a masked individual appeared, attacking Mysterio and Lee, which directly led to Kingston and Woods securing the victory. So I like the match. This was a great match. Like, the only downside about the match is it's not even match wise. I felt like the New Day's heel turn needs something. It's kind of stagnant. Like, they've been beefing with the LWO since they've turned heel. They have yet to go interact with the War Raiders at all in a backstage segment, anything. And like I said, my biggest gripe with wrestling right now in the WWE is their tag divisions. The tag divisions are lackluster. Like, SmackDown just kind of picked the pace up a little bit. But Raw, you didn't even see the champions this week. So it's like, okay, like, what are we doing? But with that being said, it was definitely a great match. TWV right now, give it a 4. And you know, it was really good. Like, I would recommend you watch it. Like, it's not one of those matches where I tell, hey, this is why I got into professional wrestling. But this is definitely a good showcase of what professional wrestling is in 2025. So with that being said, let's get to the next one. Segment showcased the Judgment Day faction of Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Carlito. In the segment, Balor expresses frustration over Braun Breaker's recent actions. Dominic informed Balor that he had spoken with WWE official Adam Pearce to arrange a match between Balor and Breaker for the following week's Raw, pending Balor's confirmation for the Intercontinental Championship. Balor appreciated Dominic's initiative and left to finalize the match. After Balor's departure, Liv questioned Dominic about not securing the Intercontinental Championship opportunity for himself. Dominic responded confidently, stating that Balor had the situation under control. So this is where we start to build the cracks in the Judgment Day. They've already started, but in this segment, when Finn Balor went to go give Dom a hug about it, Dom, like, Dom's face was facing the camera, Finn's back was facing the camera. So Dom looked at him like, you mother, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like in the match, Dom is going to try to come out there to help Finn, and it's going to cost him the match, and then we build from there. I do see Finn and Dom as a WrestleMania match for who's the leader of the Judgment Day. I do see Dom winning that match. Finn hasn't won a WrestleMania match in who knows how long, which is really upsetting. Finn Balor is in my opinion, one of the best underutilized WWE wrestlers probably of all time, because he had a shoulder injury back in 2016, and it really derailed his career, because Finn Balor was the first ever Universal Champion. So that is the red championship belt, which they no longer use in WWE, but they still sell it on WWE Shop. I personally have one of my own. It's actually in my display case. One day I'll do like a breakdown of my belts I have so far, and just some of the cool things I got in my wrestling display case collection. That's a video for another day. Let's stay on topic. But I definitely feel like Finn Balor he's not going to win this match with Braun Breaker, but I feel like this builds to a multi-man match at WrestleMania. I don't know how we're going to get there. We got 5-6 weeks. We can make it happen though. We can make it happen for sure, because Braun Breaker's always running into people. Like, he ran into Penn at one point. He was beefing with Ludwig Kaiser. Sheamus has yet to come back. Big Sheamus is coming back and winning the belt. I feel like Sheamus will win it at WrestleMania. He's finally gonna get what he deserved to get at WrestleMania 39. I thought they was gonna pull the trigger and have him beat Gunther at WrestleMania in the triple threat with him and Drew McIntyre. One of the greatest triple threat matches of all time. That is a match that that's a TWV recommendation. Go watch that match if you never watched it before. That is a great match to showcase what professional wrestling is as well. But with that, like, I'm getting long-winded. Let me stay on point. But I do feel like the Judgment Day is breaking up some sort of way. I gotta let them cook on Raw and see how we get there. But I'm excited for where the Judgment Day is going as well. We needed to pick up the Judgment Day story because post Priest and Ripley leaving, it was kind of, I ain't gonna call it mid, but I needed to pick it back up to it was like, okay, now I'm interested back in the Judgment Day. Like for a little minute, week to week, Judgment Day wasn't that interesting. It was just like, oh, boo. Not all boo, but oh, man, it's the Judgment Day. But with that being said, let's get into the next one. In-ring segment was undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes delivering a promo addressing his upcoming WrestleMania 41 opponent, John Cena. Rhodes entered the Madison Square Garden to a thunderous ovation with fans singing along to his entrance theme. Notably, he spotted visible injuries, a black eye, and a bandaged ear sustained during the previous altercation involving John Cena and global superstar Travis Scott. Taking center stage, Rhodes began acknowledging the significance of Madison Square Garden, referring to it as the cathedral of entertainment history and the home base of WWE. He then addressed Cena's absence from the event, informing the audience that Cena would appear on the Raw following this week in Brussels, Belgium. Rhodes criticized Cena's recent actions, particularly his unexpected heel turn in alliance with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He expressed disdain for Cena's social media advice about discipline, suggesting that Cena's concept of best for business is outdated. Rhodes emphasized that the wrestling business has evolved and dismissed the notion of Cena achieving a 17th world title reign, stating that it doesn't happen. So when Cody Rhodes picks up a microphone, he does not miss. And next Monday, boy, oh boy, they're going to have him and Cena interact in some capacity. If they don't, that would be a damn shame. Cause boy, that Cena's gonna get on that mic and it's gonna be fire. I cannot wait. Cause also we got to see what Cena's new theme is. Like what's his new attire? Like is he gonna go George Steele as a heel, or is he, he spoke in an interview like he was going to wear singlets if he ever did a heel turn. Like, well, like what are we going to do with John Cena? Like, I'm so interested in the John Cena heel turn character and where it goes from there. And I'm definitely excited just for this Cody Rhodes and John Cena face to face. I know they have to face off next week because this is two generations clashing, just like how Rock and Cena clashed 12, 13 years ago. Like John Cena is the GOAT of my like younger generation, like me being a child growing up in the WWE, and Cody Rhodes is my GOAT of this generation. Him and Roman, you can 1A, 1B it, but it's without a shadow of a doubt, like those are the top two guys of this generation. Like this is this generation's Rock and Stone Cold. This is the generations before Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. Like this is your, and I'm not a fan of him, but this is your Hogan, Macho Man, your Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, however you want to layer it out. But these two are the two superstars of this generation. And with that being said, I cannot wait for this to happen. But let me not get long-winded. Let's get to the next one. The next in-ring action was Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley for the #1 contendership for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. The bout showcased Rodriguez's strength against Bayley's veteran savvy, culminating in the bout showcased Rodriguez's strength against Bayley's veteran savvy, culminating in a decisive victory for Rodriguez. From the outset, Rodriguez utilized her power advantage, delivering shoulder tackles and a fallaway slam that left Bayley reeling. Bayley, ever the strategist, countered with targeting Rodriguez's legs, executing middle rope stunner and a sliding elbow to shift the momentum. Despite these efforts, Rodriguez's resilience was evident as she continued to press forward. The match's turning point occurred when Bayley attempted a suicide dive, only for Rodriguez to catch her in midair and slam her onto the announce desk. The impactful move left Bayley struggling to beat the referee's count. Upon re-entering the ring, Bayley was met with a big boo from Rodriguez, who executed her signature Tejada bomb to secure the pinfall victory. This win propels Raquel Rodriguez into contention for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, setting the stage for a compelling showdown with the current champion, Lila Valkyria. So, said in the previous video, man, just throw people in there, throw them in the mix with Lila. I do think the title does change hands at WrestleMania. She did have a good run, kind of underbooked, but I think we're heating it up where we can have Ivy Now, we can have Dakota Kai. The tag belts are getting defended, so I don't see Raquel in the WrestleMania match, but she'll have a match, I guess, if not next week, Raw, the week after that, because they're on a European tour for the next 3 weeks. So she's going to have a match somewhere on the European tour. But yeah, I'm intrigued. Lila Valkyria had a really good match against Nia Jax in the Women's Queen of the Ring finals. So she can wrestle against bigger women. So this is definitely a cool match in my opinion. It's a contrast of styles for sure. That's what I love about wrestling. It's so many different styles of wrestlers and how they operate. So whenever you see them in the ring, some people do have better in-ring chemistry than others, and some people don't have good in-ring chemistry at all. And it's like, hey, keep these two away from each other. But with that being said, I am interested in where this goes. This could lead to the Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan breaking up, or some tension between them in the Judgment Day. So either way, it's all circling back around the Judgment Day, and I like that we're driving the Judgment Day storyline into these championship type of matches. And I'm just gonna, gotta let it cook and see where it goes from there. But I am excited. Y'all know my motto. I'm pretty positive with wrestling. So the only, when I gripe, but I'm pretty optimistic with everything. But with that being said, let's get into the next one. The next segment was Kathy Kelly confronting Chad Gable backstage about the incident earlier during the LWO and New Day match, suggesting that his involvement due to the attacker's mannerisms and attire. Gable denied any connection, expressing further frustration over the security lapse that allowed such interference. As he defended his innocence, the camera captured security personnel escorting another individual wearing a similar mask out of the arena, seemingly providing Gable with an alibi. So Chad Gable did that shit, but it was so funny that they had a stage where they had another person getting escorted out of the ring, like not the ring, out of the arena with the same attire on. Like the funny thing is, like they only showed the upper half of Chad Gable. They didn't show like his lower half, so they basically like, oh, that was the guy that did it. When no, like when you watch the match and the moves the guy did, all that, it's literally Chad Gable with a luchador mask on. He pulled like a Kurt Angle from back in the day. Like Chad Gable was Kurt Angle 2.0. Like if you don't know about Kurt Angle, I would say go watch Kurt Angle's TNA run. Personal opinion, Kurt Angle's TNA run. Perk Angle, he doesn't like that, but Kurt Angle / Perk Angle's TNA run was in my personal opinion, just because I was so young and TNA was so cool back then, because it was like the variant of WWE. They had like a octagon ring and they were doing like Ultimate X and King of the Mountain. Like peak TNA, like when they was going up against WWE from like 04 to 2010. Like it was peak. But yeah, let's not get on a tangent. But yeah, Chad Gable is Kurt Angle 2.0. Kurt Angle is one of the greatest in-ring wrestlers of all time. Like Kurt Angle won an Olympic gold medal with a broken neck. Like he was built different. But with that being said, I do like that Chad Gable's luchador thing kind of ended a little bit, but we're still getting the storyline continued. I do feel like he's just going to keep popping up with the luchador mask on, interfering in luchador matches. So that would probably be another LWO match. He could possibly interfere in the Penta and Ludwig Kaiser match. Like I do see this where later down the line, possibly WrestleMania, like him taking the mask off and he's showing his teacher, and it'd be Aleister Black. I could see that after the Raw, after WrestleMania 2, Aleister Black left AEW. He was Malachi Black in AEW, so he's coming back to the WWE. I do see him either being in the lead up to WrestleMania, which I feel like will be too short, but I do feel like he will be on that Raw after WrestleMania for sure, just to get a huge pop. Like, oh man, Aleister Black is back. With that being said, let's get to the next one. The next in-ring segment featured Women's World Champion Io Sky in an interview with Michael Cole. Io Sky expressed her elation about capturing the Women's World Championship, especially about achieving a milestone of her being able to come into Madison Square Garden as champion. She emphasized the significance of proving that the impossible is possible, reflecting on her journey and the challenges she overcame to reach this pinnacle. Michael Cole then introduced Bianca Belair during the interview. Belair acknowledged that while she and Io have had their differences, she is excited for both of them heading into WrestleMania. She acknowledged her unexpected involvement in the match between Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, where her presence at ringside led to a confrontation, ultimately contributed to Io Sky's victory and title acquisition. Belair apologized to Ripley for her unintended interference, but emphasized that she wouldn't tolerate being attacked without repercussions. She then shifted her focus to WrestleMania, expressing her intent to challenge for the Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley then interrupted, questioning Belair's motive for being at ringside during her title defense against Io Sky. Ripley accused Belair of fearing a one-on-one match against her at WrestleMania and insinuated that Belair's presence was a deliberate attempt to influence the outcome. She suggested that Belair should have concentrated on her own issues with Naomi and Jade Cargill instead of involving herself in Ripley's affairs. Belair then dismissed Ripley's accusations, suggesting that Ripley's defensiveness stemmed from insecurity about facing Io Sky. Let's take a pause. Rhea Ripley has not beat Io Sky in WWE. I think she is now 0-5 against her. But back to the rest of the segment. The exchange grew heated, leading to physical altercations. Ripley shoved Sky out the way, like mushed her out the way, who attempted to mediate, and in response, Bianca Belair shoved her out the way as well. This led to Sky retaliating, slapping both of them in the face, assert her dominance as the reigning women's champion. So, beautiful segment, showcased all three women and showed that these are the three top women of the division. It's definitely leading to a triple threat match. This WrestleMania is going to have 2 triple threat matches, and I'm gonna get to the second one in the next match. But yeah, man, I loved it. It was a beautiful thing. Like it should just showcase the layers between all the women, and all three of them all came up from NXT together, so they're bonded at the hip. Just outside of wrestling, friendship wise, but inside the ring, like they're all competitors, so they're all competing to be the women of the Raw division. Because Charlotte is over on SmackDown, of course. I mean, Bianca's on SmackDown too, but she's challenging for the Raw Women's Championship because Charlotte won Royal Rumble, so she picked first. So she is facing Tiffany Stratton, who's the SmackDown's Women's Champion. You get what I'm saying? So I loved it. It was pretty beautiful. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Like, Bianca Belair has been in some peak segments in the last two episodes of between SmackDown and Raw. I'm loving it. You know what I'm saying? So she acting her ass off, and I'm loving every bit of it. But with that being said, let's get into the main event of the evening. Event of the evening was Seth Rollins versus CM Punk in a steel cage match. And this is what professional wrestling is all about. You put two guys that deliberately hate each other inside of a steel cage. You just let them go at it. This was a masterful steel cage match. And AEW had just had a steel cage match the night before, and it was 2 different types of steel cage matches. Like, the AEW steel cage match was just insane with the spots and the blood and the thumbtacks and the doing Spanish flies off the top of the cage. Like, this isn't an AEW video, but that match was insane, so I had to compare the two. And they're both peak professional wrestling. Like, one is like an extremist, like hardcore steel cage match, and then the other one is just, this one tonight was just real graps was going on, man. Like, they tried to tell people on Twitter, the IWC, the Twitter nerds wanted to say my boy CM Punk was washed. You can't say the best in the world is washed. Since he came back post-injury, he tore his tricep at the Royal Rumble last year. So when he came back post-injury, CM Punk has put on a master class of matches. He has not missed yet, and he's going to continue not to miss. Like, he's him. Seth Rollins is him. These two, hatred for each other makes beautiful wrestling inside of the ring. Like, I thoroughly enjoy it. The match was great. The ending. Man, Rollins hit Punk with a go to sleep, a stomp, and then he was looking at Punk about to get the win. Like, the steel cage door was open. He could have walked out all that, but he wanted to kill Punk in that ring. So he's staring him down. The camera showing Rollins' face. Then the camera's like showing like the back of Rollins, like from the steps looking into the steel cage. And you hear the crowd get loud, but you're trying to figure out why the crowd's getting loud. And all of a sudden, you see an arm come around Rollins like Baby Boy, and he gets snatched out the ring. So he wins the match, but he doesn't win the match the way he wants to win it. So this was what sparks this third match. So the person that pulls him out of the ring is Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns came to get his lick back because at the Royal Rumble, when they all got eliminated, Roman Reigns yelled at CM Punk like, we literally teamed a month ago. You know, he got mad because he eliminated him. And Seth Rollins heard that. And Seth Rollins hates CM Punk. So he double stomped Roman Reigns into the ground. And then he stomped him again on the steel steps. So Roman Reigns was coming back to get his pound of flesh. So boom, he got out there. Superman punched Seth Rollins, speared him, hit him with a stomp. And then he was about to hit him with a stomp on the steps. But Adam Pearce and a bunch of officials came down to stop him. So then the cameras are on Roman Reigns, and then it pans like into the ring, and the wise man appeared. Wise man appeared out of thin air, and he's in the ring consoling CM Punk. So the camera pans to like looking through the cage, looking at Paul Heyman console CM Punk, and look at Roman Reigns like from the other side. So then it cuts to Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns creeps into the ring. He slams CM Punk on one side of the chamber. He slams CM Punk on the other side. Then he comes and spears him. Boom. And now CM Punk's laid out over the WWE logo. Everybody's chanting OTC. And we're raising our ones to the sky, acknowledging our tribal chief. Like, it was cinema. But before the show closed, Michael Cole was on commentary saying Paul Heyman owes a favor to CM Punk. So what would that favor be? Time for a TWV hypothesis. So I speculate that the favor is going to get cashed in somewhere on this build to the triple threat match, because it's inevitable it's going to be a triple threat match. Either the triple threat match is going to be Punk is going to use the favor to make the match a number one contenders match, which will whoever wins gets inserted into the night two's main event with Cody Rhodes and John Cena. I do see that playing out like that, then I don't see it playing out. But the favor has to get paid off. Like they can't keep bringing it up on commentary, and Punk can't keep bringing it up without it being acknowledged and cashed in. So it has to get cashed in on this road to WrestleMania. I don't know if it gets used post Mania. Like I don't think it deflates it, but the favor only makes sense in the bloodline story. Like he has to use Paul Heyman's. He has to use the Paul Heyman favor in a way where it gets to Roman Reigns. Like it has to be intertwined that way. It cannot be cashed in post Mania, because I see the point, but I don't see the point. Like it has to get cashed in this build. Like, but I do see that either Punk loses the match and he'll use the favor to get into night two's main event, or we tell you what the favor is that Friday before, and then now we go into Saturday with, okay, the stakes in this match are even higher now, because whoever wins is now inserted into the Cody Rhodes John Cena match, which is like, oh man, like we're getting crazy. So I really do see is the Punk gets inserted into the triple threat match. I think Cena takes the pin. I think Cena takes the pin and Punk gets inserted into the triple threat match, because Punk gets his win back from losing to Cena at Elimination Chamber, and this causes the start of Summer of Punk, where he will probably face Cody, he will probably face Seth, Roman, and Cena. I don't know how they would do it, but putting the title on Punk would be insane. We would get 4 amazing matches out of it. We would get the Cody Punk feud. We would get the Seth Punk feud. You got to run that back for the title, and you got to run Roman Punk, and you got to run Cena Punk. Like that's so easy. Like, but with that being said, it's your boy TWV checking in and checking out. I'll catch you tomorrow for the recap of NXT Roadblock. Peace.